All right, today on The Explainer, we are diving deep into the human voice. But we're not just talking about what we say. Nope, we're looking at how we say it. Because it turns out the actual sound of your voice can unlock some pretty incredible secrets about your health.
So I want you to just think about your voice for a second. I mean, we use it every day, right? But it's way more than just a tool for talking. It's a physical signal, one that your body actually produces. And just like your heartbeat or your blood pressure, it is packed with data. So the big question is, what is that data trying to tell us?
Okay, so before we get to the cool, futuristic stuff, we've got to lay some groundwork. We need to talk about the foundations of speech therapy. Now, this is a field that a lot of people misunderstand, but trust me, its scientific roots, they run way, way deeper than you might think.
Yeah, when you hear speech therapy, what's the first thing that comes to mind? For a lot of us, it's probably correcting a lisp or maybe working on those tricky R sounds as a kid. And sure, that's definitely part of it. But it is just the teeniest, tiniest tip of a massive scientific iceberg.
I mean, just take a look at what it actually takes to become a speech therapist. The curriculum is intense. We're talking deep dives into anatomy and neurology, the complexities of psychology and linguistics, and even the physics of sound, acoustics. This is so much more than just pronunciation. It is a full-on hard science that's dedicated to the entire incredible system of human communication.
All right, foundation set. Now let's check out a tool that really puts all this science into action. Think of it like putting the human voice under a digital microscope. It's pretty cool.
So this is a piece of software called Praat. It was developed over at the University of Amsterdam, and get this, it's free. But more importantly, it's a total game changer, and here's why. It takes something we think of as subjective, the sound of a voice, and it transforms it into cold, hard, objective data. And this is how Praat actually lets us see sound. So that image up top, that's a waveform. You can just think of that as volume over time. But the real magic, the key, is that spectrogram on the bottom. It maps out the frequency and the intensity of the sound, and in doing so, it creates this unique voice fingerprint. It's amazing. It reveals every single hidden layer of harmonics and noise.
This incredible level of detail means therapists can measure things that are super, super subtle. Take these two terms, jitter and shimmer. Jitter, that's the tiny, rapid changes in pitch. That analogy of a flickering candle flame, that's perfect. Then there's shimmer, which is the tiny changes in loudness. Now, to you and me, all of this might just sound like hoarseness. But for a therapist using this tool, oh no, these are precise data points that tell them, hey, there's vocal instability here, or this signals breathiness.
And wow, does this slide illustrate the difference? Just look. On the left, you've got the waveform of a healthy voice making a sound. See how clean that is? It's a sharp, immediate start. But then, look at the right. That's a pathological or unhealthy voice. It's just chaotic. It's noisy and unstable, all before the sound even really gets going. This right here, this is the kind of objective visual evidence that guides a therapist's entire approach.
So this kind of detailed analysis is obviously super powerful for looking at one person's voice. But what happens if you want to scale that up? I mean, what if you could analyze thousands or hundreds of thousands of voices all automatically? Well, that's where AI enters the picture.
Look, having an expert human analyze a voice is great. It's powerful stuff, but it's also slow, and it just doesn't scale. So the next big challenge, the next frontier, is to teach a machine how to hear these exact same subtle patterns, the jitter, the shimmer, the vocal instability, but to do it across thousands upon thousands of voice samples.
And can it be done? The answer is a huge, definitive yes. Researchers are already training AI models to do exactly this. First, they can classify recordings, automatically telling the difference between patients and healthy speakers. Second, they can actually predict the severity of a condition. And third, and this is a big one, they can track how symptoms progress over time, just from voice recordings alone, nothing else.
So the natural question is, how well does it actually work? Well, in one study, an AI model was able to correctly tell the difference between Parkinson's patients and healthy individuals with an incredible 84% accuracy. Let that sink in for a second. Just from the sound of someone's voice, the model achieved a really high degree of accuracy. It's just proof of how much information is secretly encoded in the way we speak.
Okay, so we've seen the science, we've seen the cool tools, and we've seen the power of AI. So what's the final step? The final piece of the puzzle? It's putting all of this incredible power directly into the hands of the patients themselves. And believe me, this isn't science fiction. This is happening right now. Companies are already building apps that take this tech right out of the lab and put it into your living room. There are apps for Parkinson's patients to do their exercises, apps to help people recover language after a stroke, and even apps for kids who have language delays. What this all boils down to is personalized therapy, available literally anywhere, anytime.
And you know what? It's making a real, tangible difference. This is a review from an actual user, and they highlight just how practical it is for collecting data for their Parkinson's patient. This is what closes the loop, you see? The very same scientific analysis that we saw happening in a lab is now happening right on a patient's phone. And that empowers them to take a truly active role in their own therapy.
All of this leaves us with one last, pretty powerful thought to chew on. Think about it. We let our phones track our steps, we let them track our sleep. But what if the next big health diagnostic tool isn't some fancy sensor you have to wear? What if it's just a simple recording of your voice? What if, in the future, a simple hello could become one of the most powerful ways to monitor your health? Thanks for joining us on The Explainer.